The city was still waking up when the news broke. Jessica Monroe, a respected defense attorney, was found murdered in her apartment. The crime was brutal. A single stab wound to the heart. The weapon? A kitchen knife, wiped clean, except for one set of fingerprints. Daniel Grayson's. Daniel had been a rising star in the legal world. A prosecutor known for his relentless pursuit of justice, the kind of man people either feared or admired. But in the blink of an eye, his life collapsed. The case against him seemed airtight. Security footage placed him at Jessica's apartment the night before her death. Neighbors reported hearing an argument. Then came the most damning evidence. Hundreds of text messages between them, revealing a secret affair. Jessica Monroe wasn't just a colleague. She had been his lover. The media tore him apart. A high-profile prosecutor accused of murdering his mistress. Headlines screamed of a crime of passion, of jealousy turned deadly. But was it really that simple? As Daniel sat in his jail cell, waiting for trial, his defense attorney, Lauren Mitchell, started digging deeper. The crime scene was too clean. The evidence too perfect. The missing piece? Jessica's laptop, nowhere to be found. Someone wanted this case closed fast. Someone wanted Daniel to take the fall. Daniel wasn't just fighting for his freedom, he was fighting against the very system he had sworn to protect. Lauren's investigation led her to Jessica's last case, one she had been working on in secret, a high-stakes corruption scandal involving law enforcement and the legal system itself. Someone powerful had a lot to lose, and the name tied to that case? Daniel Grayson. But Daniel had no idea what Jessica had been working on. Was he part of the corruption without even knowing it? Or had Jessica uncovered something that put a target on her back? Lauren kept digging. Jessica's laptop was still missing, but she found something just as damning. An unsent email on Jessica's office computer. It read, "He knows. I have proof." He. Who was she talking about? Then came the breakthrough. A security camera from across the street, one that the police had overlooked, caught a blurry figure entering Jessica's apartment just minutes before Daniel arrived. It wasn't Daniel. Someone else had been there that night. Someone who had every reason to make sure Jessica never spoke again. Jessica Monroe had spent the last months of her life trying to expose a terrible secret. But before she could, she was silenced. The real mastermind wasn't Daniel. It was someone much closer than he ever imagined. Ethan Carter, his mentor and boss. Ethan had built a career as one of the most respected prosecutors in the state. But behind the scenes, he was manipulating cases, ensuring criminals with the right connections walked free while innocent people took the fall. Jessica had figured it out. She had the proof. And Ethan knew the only way to protect himself was to get rid of her. Daniel was the perfect scapegoat. His relationship with Jessica made him the obvious suspect. The planted evidence ensured the case would be airtight. But Ethan had made a mistake. He hadn't erased all the security footage. He hadn't counted on Lauren finding Jessica's email. And he hadn't expected Daniel to fight back. The trial was a spectacle, drawing national attention. Every piece of evidence against Daniel was dismantled by Lauren's relentless cross-examinations. Witnesses were brought in, and soon inconsistencies in Ethan's narrative began to surface. The case against Daniel crumbled, and the prosecution had no choice but to drop the charges. Ethan tried to flee, but the walls were closing in. With the missing laptop finally recovered, the evidence was undeniable. It contained records of backroom deals, suppressed evidence, and payouts to criminals Ethan had personally let walk free. He was arrested on multiple counts of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and murder. The man who once controlled the system was now at its mercy. When the truth finally came out, Daniel was exonerated. But the damage was done. His career, over. His reputation, destroyed. And Jessica, gone. Lauren urged him to rebuild, to fight back and reclaim his place in the legal world. But Daniel had seen too much, lost too much. The justice system he once believed in had betrayed him, and he no longer wanted any part of it. He disappeared from public life, moving to a quiet coastal town, far from the city's corruption and deceit. But even as he tried to leave it all behind, he knew justice wasn't always about winning in court. Sometimes it was about exposing the truth, no matter the cost. Years later, a book was published exposing the full extent of the corruption scandal. It became a bestseller. The author, Lauren Mitchell. In the book's dedication, one line stood out: "To those who fight in the shadows, seeking justice even when the system fails them." Welcome to Beneath the Surface, the channel that unearths the secrets lurking in the shadows. Here, we dive deep into twisting mysteries, shocking betrayals, and haunting crimes, where nothing is as it seems. Every story we tell peels back the layers of deception, guilt, and hidden truths, exposing the fragile line between justice and corruption, love and obsession, innocence and guilt. Are you ready to uncover the untold? To see beyond the lies? Then subscribe now, because the truth is never what it seems when you look beneath the surface.